Hey, this is Tyrese Anderson. What I want to talk about is why China might not be as powerful as they claim to be. So of course, because China has been rising on the center stage of the world in the past little while, um, particularly because of America's natural decline that it's been experiencing. The question has been coming up more and more since China is going to become the world's next superpower. It's predicted in the next 10 to 20 years is a question because of a lot of people who've exposed some of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes in China, which is a very good, which there's been really good informative information and points put out there about China, about the truth about China behind the scenes, which is the question of, is China really as powerful as they claim? Are they really as organized and as good as they claim to be? Because even in the Bible, whether you like the Bible or not, there is some true wisdom in there. It says at one point in the Bible um, that Babylon, which at a period of time was the most sophisticated, advanced civilization in the world, would be replaced by a civilization that would conquer it, but that civilization that conquered it was not as advanced and had as much wisdom and knowledge as Babylon, which would be the Persian Empire. So the point I'm trying to make here is that just because a nation surpasses you does not necessarily mean that it surpasses you because it's better than you, if you want to use that way of thinking. It simply surpasses you in some cases simply because you're past your prime, and due to internal issues, a nation that normally would have probably been subservient is now surpassing you. So truth be told, you can't look at things from a face value perspective from that point. And that's what I'm going to get into this video. Is China really as powerful as they claim to be? Are they really deserving of the title of the most advanced nation in the world? So let's get started with the first point. The first answer I have to give to answering that question is that no, China has shown historically that when it comes to organization, like handling natural disasters, quality of infrastructure, and so on and so forth, they are a lot less advanced in the United States. There are things that happen there that if you live in Canada, America, and so on and so forth, you would be surprised that something like that could actually happen. Like they say in China, for example, if you have a smartphone, you have to be careful of how much you charge it because some of their local brands, if you charge it too much, it could literally explode. Not to mention people who've apparently walked on sidewalks, I mean, and have actually fallen inside the sidewalks. So, truth be told, they're definitely not as organized as they claim to be when it comes to that department. Because organization takes knowledge, not just simply based on how much money you got and so on and so forth. Being able to create things of good quality is something that's very hard and very complex to do. So just because you're surpassing a nation that's pretty much falling apart, not really because it has to fall apart, but it's falling apart because of internal divisions and stuff, such as a race issue, which they should have resolved, and simply a silly war like the one in Iraq and Afghanistan that should have been resolved a long time ago. Truth be told, there's no way you're telling me that if America didn't handle these issues, China would surpass it at least anytime soon. It'd probably been a much more greater amount of decades. So truth be told, I still think America would probably still not have to worry about losing its spot for some time. It's just that China is simply taking advantage of the stupidity of a lot of American politicians, which is their own fault, and I can't blame China for that. But like I said, for these type of videos, I'm presenting facts, and the fact of the matter is, I still think America, if it was still in its prime, by handling all these social issues and stuff, would not have to worry about China surpassing it. So when it comes to the Department of Organization, definitely America is still ahead. Now the second question that obviously comes up, when it comes to this, or more like second point, is simply something that is also very important to discuss is the power of entertainment. Now, entertainment is definitely, if you understand anything about economics and just basic common sense, it's one of the easiest ways to actually to encourage revenue for a nation. It encourages people to be interested in a nation. It gets people to buy merchandise and all that type of stuff. And it's not an extremely complicated thing to do. Making music is hard. It takes a lot of years of effort, but it's definitely not as hard as learning how to create a new invention and so on and so forth. It's a very easy thing to sell, and it can make nations that might not have that much money usually make a ton of money. Truth be told, it's really efficient, and it captures the hearts and minds of people. It makes people pretty much love your nation or love your culture. If anything, it has a lot of power, and it's something people actually need, to put it bluntly, more than you would imagine. It just in general makes life entertaining. China hasn't shown anything that it has anything that could really, when it comes to the power of entertainment, really encourage people to be interested in their nation. Like, what do they really have to sell there in China anyway? Truth be told, all they really have all they really have is just, when it comes to opportunities to do anything and really sell anything, is really nothing. I'm not hating on China. I'm just speaking honest truth here. Because like, what can you even really do in China? They have like, at least whether you like this music genre or not, which is rap, and even other music genres in general as a whole, Western music genres like rock and stuff, at least they show that you can at least do something, and that makes the storylines interesting. For rap, at least it's interesting because it happens in America, and at least things happen there. Whether you agree with the music or not, at least makes things interesting. In China, what can you really do? People are just work nonstop, and this is what I'm trying to say. There's not much inspiration, and there's just not much they can really do anyway to really sell you anything. And people might say, well, what about K-pop? Well, K-pop's Korean, and Koreans are actually starting to distance themselves from China because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So you can't say, oh, well, they can use K-pop. Besides, this is China, not Korea. So truth be told, China, when it comes to entertainment, is kind of losing its position and its spot, or more like, it doesn't have that position and spot in the first place. America still does, and that is what also makes nations powerful. In the past, nations relied on weapons and all that type of stuff, using fear and intimidation to scare people. Now people rely on music and entertainment in general, in a sense, to kind of generate revenue. China doesn't have that, because no one, especially in the fact, even in Asia, every nation in Asia pretty much hates them anyway. So why would anyone want to buy their stuff? I think nowadays in Asia, people would probably be more willing to listen to Japanese music, and anyone who knows even a bit about Asian culture knows that pretty much all of Asia hates Japan because of what they did to them during World War II. Literally, all of Asia hates Japan. Even they're willing to listen to probably Japanese music and Japanese animation known as anime way over China. Not to mention, people have kind of moved on since then. China's just doing things to just constantly piss people off. So who's going to want to buy their stuff? So truth be told, in short, China's not as powerful as they claim to be. They might, of course, they'll probably surpass the United States, but I just want to let people know they're not this invincible powerhouse that the media is trying to make it seem to be. They're like any nation, they have their own flaws, they have their own plot holes. America's, to sum it up, plot holes that they don't treat black people well. So it leaves nations that actually could care less about black people. It gives them an opening to attack and criticize them when America criticizes them about how they treat their own people or certain ethnic groups and stuff. But if America dealt with its race issue particularly, because when you look at their history, pretty much every issue they have is pretty much related to the race issue, then America would not lose her spot. Truth be told. Truth be told, okay? But so America itself has its own flaws. But China in itself has its own flaws, and some of its flaws show that in any situation that might come up in the future, it might be exposed, and they're not as invincible. They're not the invincible dragon they would have you believe that they are. So this is my video. I hope you enjoyed it. This is not an anti-Chinese video. This is just simply speaking the truth. And if you enjoyed it, remember to hit the subscribe button, and also sums it up in order to support me so I can produce more videos like this. That is all I have to say. That is it. So later.